Oh, look at that. You've even got the big sister experience in here. Like, you guys, this is not your first rodeo. I know
No.
you guys have been. You've been on the Today Show. Now, it's not the Today Show, but, maybe one day, who knows? And you'll be able to say, hey, I was there for. Hey people, here we are, Changemakers episode with Bianca and Crits from the Big Sister Experience, which, as everyone, over that shoulder, Jimmy, I love the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Whether there's any connection or not, who knows? We'll find out. But nonetheless, I love what these girls are about. They're bringing authenticity, vulnerability, sincerity to schools, to teens, preteens, parents. Yeah, as someone who grew up with a couple of big sisters, I've got a young daughter who I already find difficult to handle at times, and I'm already getting more grey hairs in my beard than I care for, which I can't completely blame her for, but it's probably part of it. So look, hopefully these girls can just save the day, and I'm really keen to hear their story, how they've really taken off, and hats off to them. I mean, they've done a cracking job in a very short time frame, and now, of course, navigating their way through COVID, which we just all love. Good old COVID.
Mm.
How you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Sorry that we're a bit late. Oh, technology. It's just
Don't you love it?
I don't know why I'm doing this live stream gag to myself. I don't know. I think
Bit of
maybe
pressure.
I've got there's some sort of self-punishment or something I'm enlisting. Oh, oh, look at that. You've even got the big sister experience in here. Like, you guys, this is not your first rodeo. I know
No.
you guys have been. You've been on the Today Show. Now, it's not the Today Show, but, maybe one day, who knows? And you'll be able to say, hey, I was there first. So how about, it'd be great if you guys could do a quick intro and just let us know, who you are and what you've been up to recently, and then we'll kind of do the usual wind the clock back and dig into the whole story.
Perfect. So, as you perfectly introduced, we are the Big Sister Experience. So, I'm Chris, and this is Bianca. And yes, we really are sisters. A lot of people ask us. So, Bianca and I are from the classroom. We actually have over 14 years teaching experience between us. And we were just in the classroom, just seeing these mental health and well-being issues kind of worsening, but also interrupting the learning and the teaching that was happening at school. We also have our own personal stories, and kind of that's the passion that we really bring to the Big Sister Experience and why we actually really started it.
Yeah, so for me, it was about 6 years ago, and I was started feeling really unwell and headaches and couldn't sleep, and took myself to the doctor, just convinced that I had a virus, glandular fever, or something like this. And after some tests and loads of questioning, I received a diagnosis of anxiety and depression, and that was really a changing moment in my life. I felt a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and really decided then and there to follow my mental health plan and develop tools and strategies to live a happy and healthy life, and to sit here today having many more good days than bad days. And that's the whole passion that I bring to the Big Sister Experience.
Yeah, so in my 10 years, I battled a lot with body image, and which then developed into bulimia and self-harming. But I was lucky enough to be surrounded by amazing friends and family that got me the support that I needed to make a full recovery, and start to, learning how to love my body. It's always still a battle for me, but it's one thing that I'm consciously working on. So that we can relate to the girls and the teens. We've been through a lot of what they've been through. We've made some mistakes that they're probably making or have yet to be made. So we hope to avoid some of those. But that's really why we started the Big Sister Experience, and where the passion really comes from our own personal journeys.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I just love it. As I put in my kind of write up, for me, and people who I guess have been following my story, and this show was running on my Flicks for Good channel. So this is its kind of maiden voyage on its own channel, which is also part of why we're a little bit late, because just navigating the waters of all the bits and pieces, it's quite complex, really. When it comes to, like, even Facebook won't let me create my own little kind of username on the page until it has at least 25 likes. I've just learnt today. So I've been trying to put together like a really fancy video intro. So that's all coming. But I'm still here on StreamYard. StreamYard's just maybe, I don't know, it just doesn't want to let me go. It's actually treated me pretty well, to be fair, but I'm going to transition probably across to Ecamm. So, but yeah, anyway, rant over. Basically, the moral of that story is that I just love down-to-earth, genuine people. So, and I really believe in the power of vulnerability. In fact, you know, I've gone as far as to say vulnerability is strength, particularly with men. I really think that there's a big contradiction in the Aussie blokey kind of bravado, versus people just being sincere. I don't really see any benefit to hiding the story. So, like, when you, and I'm sure you guys have found, by actually opening up and sharing your own, stories, talking to people about self-harm and bulimia and stuff like that, it's going to be, something that not that many people probably are brave enough to do. So I really commend you, and I'm sure that it really resonates and allows you to connect with people on a, on a deeper level.
Yeah, so, we like to say that vulnerability is the key to connection.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I love that. So what's the backstory? Like, where did you guys grow up?
So we're Melbourne girls, born and bred. We moved around a little bit, but we grew up. We're the oldest sisters. We've got two younger brothers. So I think the older sibling thing was always sort of inbred in us. We had a good life. Chris and I are not always as close as we are today, but we certainly were close growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, brothers and sisters and sisters, growing up together. I mean, you spend enough time with anybody, they get pretty annoying. So it's bound eventually, you have fights. And I remember having lots of fights with particularly my middle sister. So I'm the youngest, but I honestly, aside from the fact that it would sort of escalate and she would get too loud, and then that would mean Dad would end up turning up and we'd be in trouble. I can't remember what we were arguing about. I think we just kind of niggled and annoyed each other while we were washing dishes.
Yeah. That's what siblings are for. Yeah.
Yes. But now you seem to be thick as thieves. I mean, it's and I just, it's quite interesting, because I came by Bianca purely and solely, honestly, just because I saw your profile picture on Facebook, which is, of course, with the vibrant orange hair.
And COVID faded edition.
This is the COVID faded edition, yeah. And I was like, pow! And I was like, wow, she looks interesting. So then I just started looking at your story, and then I was like, oh, and you just got great, wonderful. You can just feel the warmth from you guys. So I can just see how the girls probably just, really embrace you. And tell me, do you just work within individual girls' schools, or do you do co-ed as well? What's the story there?
So we do co-ed schools. Obviously, we just take the girls for those. We work with Catholic schools as well as all girls schools. We start from grade 4. So we do primary school and high school as well. And the only time that we do work with boys, we do a transition to high school day in term 4 for grade 6 students. And this is really practical skills that we teach the students about that transition time, because it's a practical thing, but it's also their emotions involved, and there can be fear there. And we talk a lot about anxieties and managing those. So that is the only time that we do work with boys. But girls from grade 4 to year 12, co-ed, girls' school, Catholic, the works.
Wow. Yeah. Well, my daughter is 9, just recently 9, had a birthday just a week or so ago. And
happy birthday.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. Like I knew from like the outset, even like years before having any kids, I kind of had a picture in my mind. One day I would have kids, and I thought, if I have a daughter, by the time she's like 14, 15, 16, things are going to start getting really hair-raising for me, and I still think that's going to be the case. But it's already on. Like, it's, she's 9, and just, my wife and I, they just have these dramas between her and these two little friends that she has. Like, and I think they both want to be the best friend, and they find it hard to be sort of the three of them, so much so that the teachers split them all up last year. And it was ridiculous. I got to the point of them saying, you guys, like, you're allowed down on the oval at lunchtime. You're in the library and stuff like this. And we end up, like, kind of kicking up a bit of a fuss about that. Because, like, ultimately, our daughter, like, I mean, hopefully I'm not one of these parents who's just like, our daughter doesn't do anything wrong. I know it's not the case. She's got that naughtiness in her. But I think in this situation, I think she was mostly kind of stuck in the middle. Like, she just found it stressful because she just didn't want the fighting. She just wanted to be able to hang out with everybody, and we didn't want her to miss out on being able to just go play with other people in the oval. So we ended up saying, look, no, she has to be able to just go wherever she wants. But I mean, what's your normal process like when you start to talk to people? How does it take us through, I guess, a bit of a typical engagement? Like, let's say you're going to run a program in a school, and then and maybe doing one-on-ones with different people. How does that kind of unfold?
Yeah, I think, look, we offer a range of different programs, and the beautiful thing about the Big Sister experience is it's a really customizable program. So we really work with schools and open the conversation around what issues are you seeing, what issues do you want to prevent, how can we support this specific cohort. But generally, everything we do is under that umbrella of self-love and self-confidence. So really, just whether it's working with the girls or working with the parents or the teachers, it's really just empowering them with the skills and the understanding of the importance of self-love and self-care. And not only that, but how do we do it? How do we start loving ourselves? How do we start building a really strong sense of identity? And if we can start opening these conversations, that's when young girls like your daughter will begin to have the confidence to say to her friends, hey, I like you both. It's going to be so much more enjoyable if we play together, or perhaps one day I'll play with you and the next day I'll play with you. So if we can begin to have these conversations about the importance of self-love and self-confidence, we really believe that's at the core of so many challenges that we face as adults, consent, of applying for jobs, of relationships, platonic friendships. It all comes down to having the confidence to, first of all, recognize what it is that you want and need for yourself, and then being able to have the confidence to stand up for what it is that you want and need to other people.